Hello, welcome to our video notes on tropisms and Turgor pressure. So, big ideas that we need to understand. Number one, in what ways do plants respond to stimuli? Two, what are four types of tropisms? And three, how does Turgor pressure affect a plant? So first, let's think about what a stimulus is. And we learned about stimulus response in our human body systems unit. So stimulus is a detectable change in an internal or an external environment of an organism. The plural would be stimuli. Examples of stimuli would be light, gravity, touch, water, chemicals, temperature, sound, electricity. And then we have our response. So response is any change an organism makes because of a change in the environment. Examples of the response in plants would be light causes a plant to bend, gravity, roots grow down, touch, so they actually respond or move with touch, and water, where the roots grow towards a water source. And there's a picture here. Here's the plant before, and then when the finger comes in, you can see that change. Tropisms. So tropisms are the turning of all or part of an organism in a particular direction in a response to an external stimulus. So example of tropisms in plants. Phototropism, that's moving towards light. Geotropism, this is responding to gravity. Geology, that's the earth. So it's responding to the gravitational field of the earth. Hydrotropism, hydro, water. Thigmotropism, and that's responding to touch. So more examples of tropisms in plants. Chemotropism, responding to chemicals. Thermotropism, responding to temperatures, like a thermometer measures temperature. Sonotropism, responding to sound. And electrotropism, responding to an electric field. And there are two categories that we can put a tropism into. Positive tropism is when an organism moves towards the stimulus. So example would be a plant growing towards a light source. Negative tropism is when the organism moves away from the stimulus. So an example would be a plant grows against gravity, right? Gravity wants to pull it down. My plant wants to go up. So it's moving away from the stimulus. Let's look in depth at some of our types of tropism. Phototropism is when an organism responds to light as a stimulus, and this is a positive tropism. In plants, a hormone called auxin plays a part in elongating the cells on the dark side of the plant. This causes the plant to bend in the direction of the light. Bending allows more cells, which conduct photosynthesis, to reach the light. Geotropism, geo meaning earth. Gravity, organisms respond to gravity as a stimulus. Sometimes it's called gravitropism rather than geotropism. They're both correct. In plants, it causes the roots to grow towards the center of the earth. So the roots going down is a positive tropism, and the stem growing up away from the earth would be a negative tropism. You can see in this picture, we have positive geotroph where the roots are growing down towards the earth. Negative geotrophic is where the stem is trying to grow up and away from the gravity of the earth. Hydrotropism. Organisms respond to water or moisture as a stimulus. Positive, towards the water. Negative, away from water. The plant is able to sense this over a short distance and send signals to elongate part of the root. Not as influential as geotropism. So hydrotropism is not doesn't make as big a difference as geotropism when it comes to the roots seeking water. Thigmotropism. Organisms respond to touch as a stimulus. The plant moves or changes its orientation of growth as a reaction to touch. Example, sweet peas and grapevines are another one. They wrap their little tendrils around an object to grow. So when they come in contact with an object, they start wrapping themselves around it and holding on to it. Ivy also clings to, the roots actually cling to the tree and work their way up. So thigmo means touch. Turgor pressure. The pressure that water-filled vacuoles exert on the cytoplasm and the elastic cell wall in a plant. So this is a throwback to what we know about plant cells. And this is considered an internal stimulus. So it's what's happening inside the cell that causes a reaction. So let's think about the cell parts that we know. We really want to think about the cell wall around the outside of the plant cell. Cytoplasm, that's the jelly stuff that fills the inside of my cell. And then vacuole, that's our big storage area inside a plant cell. And they're much bigger in a plant cell than they are in an animal cell. So look at these diagrams. We have diagram A, diagram B, diagram C. So in A, we can see our plant wall. You can actually see that in each of our images, right? In A, we see the water leaving the cell, and you can see how the cytoplasm and everything is, that's the yellow part, sucking way in. I'm losing water. B, we show water going in and coming out, in and out, and that looks pretty even. And then if you look at C, my cell's starting to bulge and get big because lots and lots and lots of water is coming in and filling up that vacuole. So what does this mean? Water moves in and out of a plant cell through the cell wall in a process called osmosis. If something is hypertonic, hyper means lots, and water is moving out of the cell, meaning lots of water is moving out of the cell. Isotonic is when iso means even, right? Isosceles triangle, the two sides are the same. So equal movement of water in and out of the cell. And then we have hypotonic. Hypo means too little is leaving the cell. So water keeps filling it up, creating turgor pressure. You can see the cell wall is really firm. So hypertonic. So water keeps moving out of the cell, and the plant cells become more concave. That means bent in. And there's lots of space between the cells, and then this is what causes a plant to wilt. Wilty plants are because too much water has left the cells and the cells are smushy. Hypotonic. So this is when water is moving into the cells and out of the cells, and we have lots of firmness inside those plant cells, inside the cell wall. So the plant becomes rigid because there's lots of water holding that cell open. So how does water leave the plant? Plants have pores in their leaves called stomata. I'm not even going to worry about this. Not even a big deal. Cool.